So let's start by getting this wheel arch liner out. You don't always need to fully remove them to take a wing off. You can just drop them away at the edges and reach up to the bolts, but for the purpose of this job, it's going to make it a lot easier if I get it out. So what you normally couldn't see with the bumper on is that there's two Torx 30s here going up through the bottom. So that's the first thing we're going to remove. Unusual angle, we actually get to see them turning from the backside. There we go. So we'll take our second plastic bag, because this is the bag I want to use for all of the wing and wheel arch liner fixings. Second one is just a little bit further in. So we're just going to move on to a few of these clips at the back now. Now these are just as the clips at the front were, and hopefully, I don't know how good the light is there, but you can see how thin the head of the clip is. And you just see what I have to do is just sort of push the tool in between the head and the body of the clip, work it in, and then once we've got a little bit of a gap, we can get some purchase on it. There you go. Push the tool in. Now these the heads are that thin, as you can see, they like to bend. So we try and go for something with a slightly more closed gap on it if we can. And then we can use the arch liner itself to sort of lever against, and you'll see, out they pop. They always vanish on the floor. Make sure, there it is. Again, into our bag for wing and arch liner fixings. So we'll remove those clips first. I'm just going to use the bigger tool just to get myself some space to be able to lever the clips out, and then we'll go in with this. Oh, that one's coming out okay anyway, brilliant. And then a third one down here. Excellent. See, they always fall out the tool for some reason. So that'll more or less have us loose at this end now. The arch liner will be pushed behind the wing. Obviously this wing's quite badly buckled, so it's not going to be secure all the way up, but you can kind of see it's tucked behind the wing, so that will secure it. So again, I'm doing this without the wheel off to show any of you guys that might be doing this kind of repairs at home or need to change a wing at home. You know, you might not even have a jack, for instance, but you can do this with the wheel on. So there's a Torx 30 just in there, and then you'll probably see just at the back there by that cable for the wheel speed sensor, there's also a Torx 30 there. So we'll undo that one first. Now I'm going to take the extension off the ratchet, because again, whilst these are awkward, they're not impossible. And especially having a flex head ratchet like this does make life a lot easier, because you can have the handle at a different angle. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing in there. I'm just having to use my torch just to light up the area. There we go. We'll see if we can just release that one by hand now. Yes, brilliant, there we are. Right, now then normally, where we had this one at the back here, there should be another one towards the front. Trying to get you a good angle on there. Yeah, there should be one at the front there, so we'll probably just have to turn the wheel the opposite way, but I can drop the arch liner start dropping it out from the back of the wing now and just see how far forward we get, because there's another couple of fixings in there at least, but I'll flip the wheels the other way so that we can get into those. But yeah, they're quite firm as well. Oh yeah, I forgot about that little one. There's a little pocket just there, and there's a screw hiding in the bottom of there. Always the one that I forget about on Fords. there it is. Great news. So that should drop down now. There we go. You can see it's nice and loose at the back. We'll check for any other fixings. And we've got that one out, that's fine. So we should just have one more hiding somewhere behind there on that that body panel. Okay, right, I'm just going to go and spin the wheels round and we'll come back and get those front fixings out. So wheels turn the other way now. As suspected, there we go, we've got a couple of Torx 30s up there, and we've also got a clip just there. So let's get those out. We'll start with the clip. Might need a bit of light in there. It does get very dark in these wheel arches. Yeah, as you can see, this is what happens to a lot of these clips. The heads are that thin and flexible, they just pop off. So that's one we'll replace. They can be a bit of a nightmare, and sometimes you've got to be a bit brutal with them, but they're only a plastic clip and they're easily replaceable. We tend to buy these in pretty big multi-packs. In fact, the little trim remover that I showed you earlier, this one that came from TikTok Shop, this actually comes with a multi-pack of clips, like different varieties, so that if you are doing a job like this and you may need to replace some clips, you'll have spares. So that's well worth a look, and that's on our showcase, so it's worth having a look and see if you can pick a set of them up. Okay, so we should be able to get the guard out now. Now, as I've said before, everyone, this would be a lot faster and easier if we was to jack the car up and remove the wheel, but the reason we don't do that, the reason we're not doing that, is quite simply because there's a lot of you guys going to be watching these instructionals that are going to want to do these kind of jobs on your driveway, and honestly, not, you know, all of you might not even have a jack. So I want to show you that it is actually possible to do this sort of job, replace a wing, something like that, on the driveway without too much hassle. So, aha, there's one Torx 30 I've missed, and it is in there going up just like these two were. Okay, there it is. So you may have seen the colour of my hands change in this video from black to orange. I'm trying out these new Gator Grips gloves by Tough Glove. So far, I cannot rate them enough. I've written the date on them there, as you can see, probably upside down for you guys, but I'm going to see how many days I can get out of one pair of gloves. Usually the black nitrile ones we use, I would have probably gone through 2 or 3 pairs now on this job alone, just with the sharp edges. But these things are, they're as tough as steel. They're phenomenal. I cannot rate them enough so far, so I'm going to give these a real good thorough testing. But if anybody wants any of these, you can find them on our showcase as well. There we go. So arch liner's coming down. So obviously with this wing being so far in, I'm going to pull that out a little bit because I want to be able to untuck the arch liner from it, and when it's pushed in, it makes it harder. There we go. As you can see, all we now do is drag that out. They're a bit awkward, a bit jiggery pokery, but that's now out. So there'll normally be a foam packer in the back of the wing like this. It just helps to stop vibration and things, so we'll put that to one side because that will go back in. And then what you're going to see, if I can get the camera angle right, is some of the wing bolts. So we'll see there's a 10mm just up there, and then usually at the bottom here we'll have to pop the side skirt off, and there'll be a couple of 10mm going through like the sill plate just there as well. And then as we get further up, then we'll have usually one hidden behind this trim, and then we've got a few down the bonnet edge here, and then these 2 10mm at the front as well. So that's as simple as that to get the wing off. I'm going to keep stripping, we'll get the other bits off, I'll expose all the bolts for you, and then we'll go around, take them all out and show you how you sort of get the wing out trouble free. So start off getting the wing off. As I said, we're going to remove this mould, and we're going to start off with our TikTok Shop trim remover set. Absolutely brilliant bit of kit. I think we paid about $5.99 for it or something. It was an absolute steal. What we're going to do is we're going to have to open the door. It's going to make life easier because we can get into the edge of the trim. And then we're going to take a trim remover. Usually something like that with a good wide fork on the end is a good start. And essentially you just want to slide that under until you find roughly where the clips are, and then a little bit of outward motion. We usually get the first one to pop, and they can be a little bit finicky, these ones, because the clips are usually fragile. But again, it's something we keep loads of in stock. There we go, there's the pop on one of them. A nice thing is you can use these up against paint like this because they just won't damage it. The tool tends to take on the damage rather than the paint taking on the damage, if that makes sense. So we're going to let, there we go, lovely. Yeah, once you've got one, they normally come along fairly straightforward. Usually they slide onto these clips, as you can see here. I'll slide the clip actually out of the housing. It will come out that way. And you can see that they just have a head on and they slide into that little notch there. So usually once you've got most of them off, you can slide the moulding off. It's just knowing exactly which way each clip slides out, because often they do go in opposing directions so that it can't kind of rattle itself free. I'll try and just get a little bit of purchase on that clip with the trim remover as well. There we go, lovely. So you see I've left the clip in place. So what we'll do now is just go back in and rescue that clip. Yeah, so they're old and brittle, but no surprise there. In that case, I'm going to replace those two, and that one's still intact, so that's absolutely fine. But yeah, do expect it. If you've got to remove trims and moulding like this, you are going to get some of them break. That is just a part of it, unfortunately. It cannot be avoided at certain times, so don't be alarmed if you know your clips start obliterating and exploding on you. So we'll put this in the car for safekeeping. So as you can see, what was hiding behind it is one of the 10mm for the wing. So that's the uppermost one. There's one sort of there that I showed you before inside the wing, and then the two lower down. So we're just going to work now on dropping that seal cover off so we get access to the lower bolts. There's a couple of push clips, and they do go all the way down the sill, but you don't need to get the whole sill cover off usually for this. You can normally loosen up the front quite effectively and then remove them that way. So you can see usually in these clips there's like a little cutout for you to get like a flat blade or a trim remover in, and you can feel that sort of go in, and then there you go, it'll release the clip. But as you can see, these are different to what we had before with that recessed head where the clip sits down in there. So again, that goes into our wing fixings bag, and then we'll try get this one out as well. Again, when doing this from the floor, access is a little bit limited, but not impossible, as long as you're sort of prepared to lie down and get a bit dirty. There we go. That one should drop out there. Fantastic. Try and give you a good look inside there so you see exactly what you're dealing with. Right, and you can normally get enough flex in it as well, even to be able to just get like a 10mm ratchet spanner behind there. As long as you can pull that away enough, you'll be able to get down there, and you can see the 10mm just in the gap there. So that's probably the method I'll go with, so that I have to remove the whole sill. But I will pop some of it off as we go along now, just to make life a bit easier. The easiest way to do that, guys, is to come inside, open the door, and you'll see what you can do is get your trim removers down behind the sill cover. Right, if you've got room for it, being able to do it like this is brilliant, because you can kind of put that one in and you can lever against the sill, and it will help pop that away lovely. But whilst you've got some tension on it with that tool, that's when you can introduce another one and then just increase the tension, and you'll see they just pop away dead easy. There's almost nothing to it. There we go. And what that'll give us then is enough flexibility to kind of move the sill cover around at the front and expose those bolts on the wing. So I'll pop a few more off, just going a little bit further backwards, but you see there's virtually no effort in that whatsoever. They just come off no problem. And again, for a like £6 from TikTok shop. This trim remover set is fantastic. I mean, we have tons of these, and to be fair, they often get lost, damaged or broken, so I've given up buying the really expensive ones now, because really there's not a lot of difference in quality at all, and these are just great. I'd rather keep replacing £6 sets than £60 sets. So you can see that's given us complete access to those bolts now. So I'll get a 10mm on the ratchet. We'll start off and undo those two first. So we're going to make sure this goes into the bag where our wing and arch liner fixings are, which is all of these. And then we'll undo the second one. And then from that point there, really guys, it's quite quick to get the wing off. You know, it doesn't take a long time at all once you're at that point. Right, I'm going to pop a little extension on this one, because it's just a little bit awkward and we don't want to be anywhere near that door really. So again, just same sort of thing. Get yourself enough room. You'll see that's quite tight, that, for a wing bolt. Surprisingly tight, in fact. So we're going to have to both hands on that to crack it. Whoa, yeah, that really had some tension on it. I say, for a wing bolt, that was phenomenally tight. Go at that from a slightly different angle. You'll find a lot of that tension on that bolt as well will, because the wing's so badly out of shape, it's obviously adjusted all the stress points in the wing, and now it's holding a lot of tension throughout the rest of the panel. So once those two lower ones are out, we'll just continue to work up to where we were going. So if you can see what I'm doing up in there on that 10mm there, again we're going to need to crack that with both hands. So ordinarily guys, I probably would use my battery ratchet for this, but again, you know, the whole intention with this series is to show you guys that if you've got something like this and you want to have a crack at it and attempt it yourself, it is possible for you with pretty basic hand tools. So what I'm also going to do is come to the front now. You'll see we've got a couple of 10mm bolts up in this bracket that I'm going to remove, and that's just going to give me a bit better access to those front wing brackets. So we're replacing this bracket anyway, so I've got a new one of those. I'll run through the parts with you in a little bit that we've got for this one. All right, there we go. Into the bag. Next one just up there. So there we go. Again, into the magic bag. Now, this, yeah, is slightly damaged. So you can see, again, those of you that don't really know the anatomy of a car and wonder how the wing is held to the bumper, the bumper's held to the wing, and it creates that gap. It's all just done by these sorts of retainer brackets, and they usually bolt or clip onto the edge of the wing. Some do go in the bumper, and then when the bumper goes up to the edge of the wing, it has bolts going through that way. Some, again, you know, will sort of, they'll go in with the bumper and you'll have to kind of get inside and bolt them up. That's a nightmare. But these ones are a doddle. They just have the clips that hold the bumper and a couple of bolts that hold them into the wing. So nice and easy. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit foobarred, as you can see there. So I'm glad we're replacing that. You know, for the sake of about £5–6 or whatever it was, it's well worth it. And then we've got good straight shot access then to the two bolts at the front of the wing. And you'll see these little retaining lugs here. So what they're actually for, if you are doing a wing swap, always check that your your new wing has got them in. If it hasn't, you're going to need to keep those, salvage them and repurpose them, because you'll see they're captive threads for those bolts. So if you don't have those in, you won't be able to bolt that bracket back up to the wing, and thus your bumper won't be able to be held on properly. So that'll create you a real nightmare. So we'll just work our way down now. We're going to slacken this one at the top also. I'm not going to take that one all the way out yet, because I still want something holding the weight of the wing, because again, I don't want it dropping, falling and causing damage to any other panels if we can get away with that. So this area now, you can remove, these bolts do have access holes like this. You can slide the wing out with all this still in place as well, but we will usually have to undo the light, because it has a hook in there and it interferes with the wing. So I'll just take these initial 10 mils out to start with. So we'll just bring our Torx 30 up now, because that's what these light bolts are. And we'll undo that. That means that I'm just going to pop that one up there, because I'm going to put it back in a sec. But you can see when I move the light, it moves the wing, and the reason for that is there's a little hook, like a plastic hook just in there, you see, that goes in that hole just there, and that's what will hold the wing in place. So that wing is, for all intents and purposes, loose. So we're going to get these two front ones out, and then it will be off with the wing, and you'll get to see all that exposed. And again, when you get to the point where all your bolts are undone and you are kind of manhandling the wing off, just take your time. You can see the tension release in that wing then, and it jumped up because where that huge dent is, everything's being pushed up. But yeah, you just take your time when you're removing them, because you don't want to catch anything. You know, I've known some pretty nasty gouges to be put in headlights with the corners of wings and things like that. So yeah, there's an awful lot of tension in that now. There we go. Right, now what I'm going to do is just loosely wind that light fixing back in, because I don't want to lose that, but I do want to be able to move the light around, and when I come to offer the new wing up, I'm going to want to be able to easily remove it. So that one now we can get out by hand, that's nice and loose. Put that in the bag, and then what we should have is one wing removed. There we go. So it's as easy as that, guys. It is all bolt on, bolt off. As I say, front wings on cars now. It's just taking your time, finding the fixings, being methodical about it and meticulous, and just trying to make sure you exercise damage limitation. But that's where we're going to end part one. We've shown you the kind of stripping side of it now. Part two, we're going to jump into the repair. So we're going to repair the damage on that bumper, and we're going to prep up the new wing ready for paint. So we'll see you in the next one, guys.